Ever since I can remember, I had this hole in my heart that I wanted to try to fill with different things. Tried drugs, I did alcohol, I did food, I tried marriage, we had a family, and that hole was still there. I just did not know what I could get that would fill it and make me satisfied. I was working at a physical job. My health wasn't too bad at the time. I probably weighed about 180 pounds. Then I got promoted into the office. Now I'm sitting all day long. Didn't change any of my bad habits. That was in 1978, I think I was promoted. And by 1984, I weighed about 240 pounds. I was on blood pressure medication, cholesterol medication, was having chest pains. I could hardly walk up a flight of stairs. I thought, I'm gonna die shortly. And at that point, I had 3 kids, and my behavior was such so that my wife and I had split up, and the kids wanted to stay with me, so I had these 3 kids and felt like I was gonna die, and I had no kind of God in my life whatsoever other than the worldly things. I finally got to the point where I'd try to go to work and I'd have chest pains on the way in from the stress of it. I'd go home, and after 3 days of that, I gave up and just told them I couldn't come in anymore. So I'm in this recovery program one Friday night, and I was whining to people, and I said, oh, my washers broke down, my stove is broke down, lost my job, I'm gonna lose my house. And one of the people said, well, have you tried praying? And I said, praying? If there is a God, he's the whole reason I'm in this mess. It's his fault. And so I agreed to do it. And so he sat and prayed with me. And this, it's hard to explain, but it just seems like the lights got brighter in the room. And I just felt this calmness come over me. And I was thinking, oh, everything's gonna be all right. And nothing had changed, but just my attitude to it. And I felt that hole inside of me start to fill up. And I finally realized at that point it was a spiritual hole, that I was missing God. And that was the whole start of my recovery. I was brought up on deep-fried foods, and I continued that. I probably even in my married life, with the kids' mother, I did most of the cooking. And I learned it from my mother, and I just continued on cooking big, thick pizzas with plenty of cheese and pepperoni and all of the good things that I don't eat anymore. So I joined this group. I think it was 8 weeks of meetings that we went to, and they had cookbooks and many things to help you along, but it was a God-based program and a Bible-based program. A program called CHIP, which is Coronary Heart Improvement Project, and it professes the vegan way of eating as a lifestyle. And I thought, wow, this is made for me. This is what I need, because my cholesterol was through the roof. My blood pressure was bad. I had diabetes. And the motto of it was food as God made it. In other words, unfooled around with. It did not have any preservatives, chemicals. We learned about, well, if you eat a cow, you're really eating the vegetables and wheat and things secondhand, and how much more it takes to make a cow than it would if you ate the stuff directly, and you don't have to put up with all the cholesterol. Not that there's anything wrong with chicken or fish or any of those kind of things. It's just I've had a cholesterol problem all my life, and the easiest thing to do was to eliminate cholesterol. And if you go vegan, you've eliminated all the cholesterol. Today, my eating is calculated. I have a certain amount of protein, around 50 grams, that I know I should have a day, and I have it measured out. I eat vital wheat gluten, all the little things they take out of wheat so that people can have gluten-free things. A third of a cup, which gives me about half my protein, into my oatmeal and blueberries in the morning. I have that same thing every single day. And from there, I have ground peanut butter, that all it is ground peanuts, on rice cakes, or I'll eat it on a banana sometimes. And that will take the rest of my proteins. I have a big bag of walnuts that I'll grab a handful during the day. I have a bag of vegetables that I eat every day. That's about 3 servings of vegetables. And I eat a tomato, and I'm not bothered by what other people do around me, because I have a little saying to think the drink through or think the food through, and in doing that, I can remember how bad it made me feel and how good it makes me feel to do things the way I do it now. So I'm not really, I don't have a desire to go back to that kind of living, because I remember how it made me feel. My diabetes is under control. I take a medication for it, but my cholesterol is wonderful. My blood pressure is wonderful. I walk an hour a day. That's my time with the Lord. And I also learned something about that too. Rather than asking for things all the time, I try to clear my mind out, and it's amazing the things that God will tell me. It's like when I get through my walk, I've figured out what I'm supposed to do. It's like God answers my questions without me even asking him. I feel younger than I did when I was 40. There's no question about it. I feel great. I don't think I sleep anywhere near as much as I used to when I was in bad shape, and yet I still feel as rested as, or more than I did when I was younger. What I eat today is try to extend my life to be more service to God. I think I would have been dead by 40. I totally believe that every day of my life, that my life is extended, is God-given, and what God gave me was this diet to eat food naturally and without cholesterol and all of the things that were hurting my body. I dieted off and on all my life, and I think the word diet is the problem, because it is a lifestyle change. It's a state of mind of taking things in naturally and getting educated on what the chemicals in processed foods do to your body, and the desire to live. My feelings for wanting satisfaction are still the same, but what satisfies me is different. Trying to create some satisfaction in my life instead of trying to fulfill my life directly with pleasure. I reach outward to people in my life that I can help, and I find that that satisfaction produces more pleasure in my life than trying to directly affect my own life. My life, even after I started exercising and losing weight and doing it without God, I still didn't have a point in my life. That hole that was in my heart was still there, and I didn't know what was missing until I had that prayer time with the group, and I felt God fill my heart, and then that's what made it complete. This church means the world to us. We just enjoy it so much, and we feel so much closer to God because we're here. Scott married us. We were his first marriage. My kids are very impressed with how I'm doing now. They had to grow up with me in the bad state that I was in, and they didn't want to lose their dad. And so to see me be healthy today and to continue life on, they really want me around now. And so I'm happy to be there for them. Jesus has all the credit. I am strong only because he is strong. And when I need help, I call for him and he's there for me. And I've already found out that my self-will does not work, and God's will does. I had an old friend years ago that said, you know, there's really only one prayer you need to pray. And I remember that to this day. He says, you ask God for his will for you today and the strength to carry that out.